Today is March 4th, 2009, and we're visiting with Mr. Henry Koller. Mr. Koller, can you tell us where you live?
On Old Liberty Road?
In Eldersburg, near Eldersburg.
Near Eldersburg, yeah.
My name is Ann Horvath, and John Frischbeck is on the camera. Mr. Koller, how old are you?
I'm 90 years old.
How long have you lived in this home?
Since the 30s.
Since the 30s. Did your family live here before then?
Yeah, my grandfather bought this farm in 1890.
And what was his name?
P.H. Schlauerback.
And so your mother was a Lauterbach.
She was born here. She was born here in 1890.
In 1890 she was born here. And your father's name?
John Henry. Or he was referred to as J. Harry because he went by Harry because he had an uncle whose name was Harry, and that's why they used Harry.
So he used Harry and you've always used Henry.
Yeah.
So were you born here in the house?
No, I was not, no.
Where did your parents live when you were born?
They lived, used to be called the Kimmin Farm.
Uh-huh.
A long time.
And where is?
That's,
somewhere near here?
yeah, right, within walking distance, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So you grew up here on this farm?
Yes, went to school here and all. Yeah.
What school did you go to?
Sykesville.
You went to Sykesville.
Yeah.
How did you get there?
School bus went right past the door, and that was very convenient. Especially, you didn't have to walk very far.
Yeah, you weren't one of those people who had to walk a long distance to
No,
school.
I didn't have to brag about it. Some people brag to their children, but I didn't have to do that.
So you went down to Sykesville and went to school. Do you have brothers and sisters?
My one brother and my sister later on, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And they went to school in Sykesville as well. Did you work here on the farm a lot as a child?
Oh yeah, yeah. Keep you busy.
What kind of chores did you have?
Well, one thing, you carry wood in the house. We burnt wood in those days, and especially in the kitchen stove, took a very thicker wood to keep the fire going, otherwise you'd hear about it.
How about water? Did you have indoor plumbing always?
I think we put indoor plumbing in 1914 on there.
Okay. And you remember the house getting electricity?
Yeah, we got electricity here in 1928.
Mm-hmm. Was an important event.
Well, it was saved carrying oil lamps around. Every time you went upstairs to bed, you'd take an oil lamp with you. That's a big difference today.
Big difference. Can you tell me a little bit about this house? Do you know when this house was built?
Oh my. It's over 200 years old, but I mean, as far as when it was built, I'm not sure.
A part of it apparently was added on, came from another building.
Yeah, when the Verees owned it, they wanted to fix it up for their son, for their daughter-in-law. But my daughter-in-law didn't want this house. After she saw it, she said, "I'm not happy there." So they sold it to my grandfather then, and they bought another house down the road.
Mm-hmm. The little building at the end, you indicated that was added on from another building?
Yeah, that was a former house, belonged to a veteran of the Revolutionary War.
And that was brought up from the field and added on?
That's brought up. That's what they did in those days. I mean, they put it on skids and hooked the horses to it and pulled it up here.
And do you remember that, or is that a family story?
Yeah, that's the family tradition, yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, I've been back to the house where it stood before, and I can remember finding pieces of glass around where that house stood. So that, to me, that was proof enough that the house was there.
And it was probably near a source of water or a spring,
It was, yeah, called Spring Branch.
the Spring Branch. There's a housing development around a large part of the farmland now. Do you remember some of your neighbors in some of the other farms?
Well, I knew the McQuay boys, they were next door neighbors, and
It was pretty much open fields
yeah, yeah.
when you were a child.
It was country. Yeah.
It was country then. Where did your family get groceries and things like that?
Well, we went we went to Ellisburg. We went to Frizzell's store right there in the corner of Ellisburg.
Uh-huh. Which corner was Frizzell's store on? This
It was on the south side.
south side.
Of, well, south. This would be south side of Old Libby Road. Of course, Libby Road was up to that time. Before that, Libby Road down to Ellisburg was dirt. Before that,
You remember Liberty Road as being dirt?
yeah, that was dirt. Yeah.
There was a big hill down at Ellersburg too. It looks like in the early days,
Well,
or at least somewhat of a hill going up to the town.
it wasn't too much. It wasn't paved. Put it away. It might have been gravel, but I mean, it wasn't.
It wasn't paved. Huh?
Wasn't paved. No.
It got muddy in the spring.
Well,
Some.
if you, of course, we had a horse, and we used to go to church and horse and buggy so in wintertime. So times has changed a little bit.
Where did you go to church?
West of Freedom now, Freedom Church.
And you've got ancestors and other family buried there.
My grandparents are buried there. My parents, and I will be too. I mean, I've got about, I don't know, half a dozen cousins buried there,
Uh-huh.
and uncles and aunts and all that.
So you had lots of family around you as you were growing up.
Yes, yeah.
So did you have big family events here on the farm?
Big family what?
Events, gatherings?
Well, I don't know if we had to go home in advance. I mean, we had enough to do husking corn and all that stuff. That was enough of events so far as I'm concerned. Of course, you used to have, if you were butchering, or you'd have a whole family of people come in and help you butcher too. I mean, it was a...
Everybody came and you went to other farms when they were butchering?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Some people were more expert than others, and they helped out then.
Uh-huh. What was your favorite part of butchering?
Yeah. Sometimes while the butchering, they also fry some pieces off, and you'd be eating on that too.
Yes. Were there things that you did for fun when you were a kid? Did you go places for fun or just...
I can remember when we used to go sleigh riding on Liberty Road,
Oh my goodness.
and we had what you call a double decker, and it was, we still have it. I mean, and you put about half a dozen on there, and you start to give them a push off down the hill, and the only trouble was you had to walk back. I mean, you
So did everybody have to help pull it back up the hill?
no, it wasn't that heavy, but
Wasn't
it
that
was just
heavy.
the fact that you
You had to walk up the hill.
yeah, but it was I mean, it was fun because you go right down the middle of the road.
Uh-huh.
That days it wasn't many. I mean, it was paved. It wasn't paved, but still, it was. To put it this way, it wasn't much traffic.
Right.
I mean, you could go down the middle of the road with a sled. Now, can you imagine that today? You better stay off the road.
Right. What about during the summertime? Did you visit with cousins and friends? Or
Well, summertime, if you
were you just...
a bit older, sometimes you'd be out. The neighbor boys would be playing ball with them too. I mean, they, yeah, Leon Esther would be he lived across the stream here, and a bunch of boys would play ball. And in the evening,
Mm-hmm.
that was part of growing up, and it didn't cost anything because you got your own, provide your own entertainment and all.
Right. Eldersburg has changed a lot in the past few years. Do you remember some of the old buildings between here and Eldersburg?
When I was going to Franklin Square Hospital, she'd take me down there and all that. And
That's a long way.
yeah,
Good
Yeah.
ride.
well, I'm glad she was doing the driving because I wouldn't have got there.
All right, we were talking about things that you between here and Eldersburg. Do you remember some of the other farms and buildings between here and Eldersburg that are gone now?
Well, the fruit farm was a farm now. It's not particularly a farm anymore, but I can remember Proofs stopping in there, and the daughter got on the school bus too. But I can remember they used to had an apple orchard, and they had a burrow in the orchard covered with fodder, and they put the apples in there,
Mm-hmm.
and they said, be sure to cover it. If you go in there and get an apple, be sure to cover it up when you leave, because the apples would spoil.
But they didn't care if you stopped by for an apple once in a while, huh?
Oh yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
What about going the other way up Liberty Road? Do you remember Dorsey's or Porter's Corner, whichever it was called? And
Yeah, that family, the Dorsey's almost part of the family. They've been knowing them that long. Yeah,
you knew a lot of them probably.
yeah.
How about Freedom? Was there a store down in
Yeah,
Freedom?
Freedom Store. Yeah, that was old. I mean, it was going back. Time Revolutionary War in there. It was an old.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So sometimes you would go there.
Yeah, and then they said, well, you get in the hurry, you put something on top of the scale, under the scale, so it wouldn't weigh.
Now, your father was a surveyor. In addition, I guess he farmed a bit
Oh yeah,
as well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Where did he go to school?
He went to Westminster.
Did he?
Yeah.
And where did he learn to become a surveyor?
Well, I think he did that more or less. He learned that on himself. Yeah.
Yeah, self-taught.
Yeah.
And I know that you at one point had a lot of surveying instruments, and you've given those to the Historical Society of Carroll County.
Yeah, we have some of them there too. I mean,
Yeah. He surveyed a lot of local farms.
Yeah.
How about yourself? When you graduated from Sykesville, what kind of work did you do?
I worked here in the farm.
Worked on the
Then
farm?
a couple of years later, we fixed up and put cows in and milk cows. I mean,
So you did general farming, dairy farming, but you obviously had pigs and chickens.
yeah,
I see
yeah.
a lot of
yeah,
outbuildings.
we had a bunch of sows running around, take care of the pigs too. I mean,
Uh-huh.
and chickens, yeah.
So, and did you have a large garden?
We still got one, same garden, half an acre.
Half an acre?
Yeah.
Are you still planting a garden?
Well, I'm planning on one this year, but I'm going to put a fence up, keep the deer out, because they will cut you short.
Yeah,
They get theirs first. The only thing they don't like tomatoes and potatoes,
right.
they don't eat the vines, but they did eat the blossom of my tomatoes. So they're tricky. I mean, they're very particular. Just pick the blossoms off them.
Uh-huh.
They didn't eat the leaves, just the blossoms.
So you worked on the farm most of your adult life here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So this has been your home then since 1930, but even before that. When you were here, you said your sister lived here for a number of years with you?
Yeah.
And what was her name?
Oh gosh, Elizabeth Ann, yeah.
Elizabeth Ann.
Yeah.
And you were telling me she died a couple of years ago, but she was a member of the DAR,
Yeah.
and she did a lot of family history research,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
and that you have things that were brought over from the old country.
Yeah, we have I was talking to you about that hair wreath that was come from Switzerland, and this family come over from there, and they must be German ancestors, you know,
Mm-hmm.
because they in Carroll County they fit right in with the people in Carroll County back
Sure
in,
did.
you know.
And this was a Lauterbach ancestor that brought the
Yeah.
hair wreath, or
No, this is Wampler.
Wampler that
Yeah.
brought the hair.
Yeah.
And you were telling me about Ludwig Wampler. What do you know about that man? Ludwig.
Well, he owned a woolen mill.
Mm-hmm.
That was one thing he owned, was a woolen mill, was because in this part of the country, everything else was controlled by the British. Was controlled clothing, you know.
Right.
And of course, the woolen, if you had your own woolen mill, you could make your own clothes if you wanted to. So
Where was the mill at? Do you
I'm
know?
not sure right now, but
Mhm.
it was
But here in Carroll County.
in Carroll County, yeah.
Yeah. You also have a
But of
couple.
course, everybody had sheep in those days.
Right. Did you have
So-
sheep here on the farm?
Well, one time, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So everybody had sheep, and I guess if you want to eat mutton once in a while, you had mutton too.
Yeah, that's probably true. You mentioned a couple of other pieces of furniture that had been in your family a long time. For instance, there's a large chest in what you call the room right next door, the dining area, that was been in the family. Can you tell me something about that?
That was a Koller, yeah.
That was a Koller piece.
Yeah, but it was supposed to be like a Pennsylvania Dutch because
Mhm.
it painted red. But with that, it took the trouble. It took all that red off. But I mean, that would, to me, that would make it more valuable if we really just finish it off like we did.
Well, he liked the more natural color, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah.
There's a trunk or a large chest that you're showing me. That also came from the old country, you think?
Yeah, Elizabeth Grayson came from England, and I don't know whether her father was in the sea trade or not, because I think that's where it's come from. Her grandparents were sailors, you know,
Uh-huh.
and that's why she wasn't married when she came over here.
Oh.
So came over here, and she met her husband over here. So
And what was your wife's name?
Marlene
And her last name?
Bone, B-O-H-N, Bone.
Ah. And was her family from here in Carroll County?
Yeah, right here, Barrett.
Right here in Barrett.
So I met her. She and her mother came down to next door neighbors to pick apples one day, and I was making hay in the next field. And I thought, well, the hay's just a little tough yet. I'll go over and talk to this lady for a couple minutes. And so that's my reason for meeting Marlene then.
And how long did you know her before you got married?
I don't know, 6 months or so.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And when you were dating or seeing one another, did you just go to one another's house, or did you go around to Ellersburg to some other places?
Well, I went to one of my cousins, and of course, I introduced her then, so they was.
So they liked her, and
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
so. And where did you get married?
At Western Freedom Church, yeah. And
And how many children do you have?
we had 6 children.
6
So we
children.
must like each other a whole lot.
Uh,
Yeah, we had 5 boys and 1 girl.
ah,
And
and you were telling me that they check on you pretty regularly, but some of them don't live very close by. So do
Yeah,
some of them live close by?
my daughter lives over in, she just called a couple minutes ago, but she lives over in Farmer County near Hunt Valley, you know, over that section there.
Mm-hmm.
But she, keeps track of me, yeah.
She keeps track of you. And so you stay busy here at the house, and you're planning to plant a garden again this year. What other things do you enjoy doing, Mr. Koller?
Well, I keep a record of the, down church, I keep record of the, I check on the cemetery. I don't mow it anymore, but I mean, I used to dig the graves there sometimes, and I keep track
And
of
maintains, and you did some of the mowing and stuff earlier.
yeah, oh yeah, I have mowed it and I keep track of all the veterans who are buried there and all.
Uh-huh.
And it's important because I know I've been around here all my life, so I might say I'm just afraid that when I go, who's going to take over next?
Well, yeah, you shared this list of veterans with us, and you have a very nice list of veterans. There are veterans from all the wars, just about. Go back, there's one from the War of 1812, there's the recent wars, so many of these veterans from recent wars,
Yeah.
you probably knew these men.
2 of them from Civil War, some in
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
But as I look at the name on this list, the names on this list, I see lots of local names. Names like Hardin and Gore.
Oh yeah, yeah.
They were probably people you went to school with or knew their
yeah,
families.
yeah.
Do you have other special memories of living here on the farm? Things that happened over the years? You remember your grandfather, Lauterbach,
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah,
he lived here with the family for a while?
that's right. And he raised his own turkeys. I mean, if he had turkey for dinner, it wasn't a little one. He'd sometimes weigh 25 pounds or more for your dinner. I mean, so.
He raised them right here on the farm, huh?
Yeah.
Who cooked them?
Well, either his wife or his sister. His sister was living
In the cook stove?
in the cook stove. Yeah, yeah.
They take a big oven.
Oh yeah, those ovens were big, and they had it wasn't took a special square pan they had made. You know, Tim Smith would make them so that they had a hand on each side, and you pick a whole, pick it up and carry it, put it right in the oven without any trouble. I mean.
Uh-huh.
But these little pans today wouldn't hold, wouldn't big enough.
Did you have the turkeys like for Thanksgiving and Christmas?
Oh yes, high days, yeah. And of course you invite the whole family and then all the relatives and all.
And everybody came into the house and
Oh yeah, yeah.
squeezed in together and
Mhm.
spent time together. What other kinds of things besides turkey would you have for Thanksgiving?
Well, I'll tell you right now, we're just thankful we had a good appetite that day.
So what was your grandfather Lauterbach like? Was he a big man or a small man?
I would say that he was a big man, yeah.
Yeah.
Towards last, you saw his picture in there,
Yeah.
but I think he put a little weight on. He might weigh 250 pounds towards last. I mean, he's
Uh-huh.
a big man.
He was a big man.
Yeah.
But had he come from the old country, or was
No, his parents were born there.
so he was the first generation?
I don't think he was born here. Yeah, yeah, they lived down there, Snowden's Creek, or right near. In fact, the little farm they had was right near.
Down more toward Baltimore County.
It's between Baltimore County and Carroll County,
Right on the line.
On the line there. And of course, what they did when he was little, when 8, 10 years old, during the Civil War, they'd have to take the horses over and hide them in Soldiers' Delight
Mm-hmm.
because they wasn't safe from either Confederate or the Union. I mean, they had no trouble about if a horse looked like it was good.
They took it.
It might disappear, yeah.
Didn't matter which soldiers, yeah.
Yeah.
So he had a farm down there. Did he tell you a lot about? Did he tell you a lot of stories about the Civil War?
No, he wasn't involved in that part at all.
He wasn't.
He was,
What about other stories? Did he try to teach you the, German or Swiss words?
No.
He never
no,
taught you the old language.
No, I didn't. I don't know. I think we should have learned it, but we didn't.
No, he never tried to teach you
No.
or tell you what his parents had said about the old country.
No, we didn't.
You know.
Oh, and they want us to. And at that point in time, we was trying to keep up with ourselves. I mean,
Right. Okay. Anybody else? John?
I'm kind of interested in your butchering experiences. I've done a little bit of butchering recently, and we do like 6 or 8 hogs at a time. How many hogs did you butcher at one
we
time?
probably did that about 6 or 8. Yeah.
And you did the whole works. You
Yeah.
killed them and cleaned them, and
Oh yeah, and then we had when he picks this wagon shed up, he put the door on the side there. He flipped that door up, and you put your bushing kennel in there. You know, to scald them and all that there,
Right.
and that was under that door, so you'd be protected. You know, regardless of what the weather
Yeah.
was, and that made it nice. I mean,
Did you usually butcher in November?
well, you got to
Wait until it got cold.
You got big cold weather. You don't want to do it too hot, or you're in trouble.
did you make your own pudding and scrapple?
Yeah, we had a butchering kettle, and we do that. Make our own lard, you know, lard fresh and all that.
Mm-hmm. And then the ladies would fix all that stuff so it could be stored and
Oh yeah.
ate from those supplies most of the year till the next butchering, kind of.
Yeah, those hams were very particular. I mean, and they had the smokehouses. You put them in there, and we're smoking them over applewood. I mean, sometimes they and smoke them.
Anybody?
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Mr. Koller. It's been a pleasure to hear something about your life.
Well, I tell you, if you don't pass it on, it will. If you don't even tell your kids, I mean, they will disappear. I mean,
Yeah, it does. It
Yeah.
disappears, and that's why we like to capture some of your memories.
Okay, we thank you very much.
Yeah.